Good morning. It's Sunday morning. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm here with a Sunday thought. Where do I start? It's a busy weekend for both Canadians and the US people. Well, not so much the weekend, is because today, well, tomorrow actually, is July the 1st, which is Canada Day. I have read on thinking of Canada Day. Also, on Thursday is the 4th, which is the US big day. Sports, I believe they have football games, etc. So, in both sides of the border here, we really get to be celebratory, except my weather outside is not nice. We had a couple of beautiful days, heralding in sort of, the summer. And now it's cloudy, cool, and I have to go out in a little bit. And it's like, do I really want to? Because it's not pleasant out there at the moment. Anyway, they're predicting some rain, I think. But anyway, beyond that, how do we live? How do we get through the different elements that come up and hit our lives? It's excuse me. We have a life, and every day things happen. Mostly they're just regular, and we deal with them, and we handle them, and we work with them. And there's no problem. But every now and again, life comes in the front door. And usually it's something that is upsetting, something that we don't want to have to deal with. And unfortunately, we have to deal with it because it's right in front of us and it's there. And this is where our faith and what we actually believe becomes important. Now, many people have different kinds of faith. And I'm going to use the word worship, I think, in this, and they worship or they practice, because mine's more of a practice than a worshiping. But you have a practice where you may worship, or you may just have a system that you work in to help you through the times when it's a little difficult and you're not really sure where to go and what to do and all of those things that go on. And that's a natural and normal thing. But I want you this Sunday is coming up, a celebration. What do you reach for when you are needing a little more faith, or you want things to be different than they are? What do you reach for inside? What is your belief system that says, like I know a lot of people that are just, that's all bunkum. You don't need to do that. Well, I don't know how I would have lived my life if I didn't have a belief in a higher power. If I didn't work with, it's so funny, I just had a little bug that came through. It's on my door. I'm good. What is that? So if anyone was watching, wondering where my attention was going, it was on a tiny little bug. So that's how easily we can be sidetracked. That's how easily we can get caught up in events or situations of thought or being, feelings, etc., without keeping on track. I learned methods of, you might say, prayer at different times in my life. And till I finally found one that I really believe works really, really well. And I work, and you do that on Monday nights at 7, and a lot of people really enjoy that because I tune it in also with my psychic impressions. So if you haven't watched any Monday nights yet, you might want to tune in. 7 o'clock, we're live at 7. Wednesday and Sundays, we were at 9 a.m. Now, otherwise at 7 p.m., sorry. But it's like, what do you really believe in? Do you believe in a power? Do you believe that thought has I put my hands up here because it's like a thought forms. I read thought forms. I see thought forms. I go into stores and see actually, I feel them because I'm more of an intuitive. And feel thought forms when people are thinking about stealing stuff, or they're thinking about, should I have this or that? So, and if it's really strong, they leave an impression. They may not leave an impression that lasts very long, but it's there. So it's like the thought forms are really important. So what kind of thought form are you putting out when you want a resolution with an issue that you have in your life? Now, I was taught originally in my early years to pray with please, like please can I have, or may I have, or all those kind of things. And when I began to realize that that really didn't work, number one, I would please may I have kind of thing, didn't work at all. So when I began to really learn how to work in, you might say, a cohort with the energy that's up there, the divine energy that's there, that wants to support you, that wants you to have what you want in your life and to get where you want to be in your life. It's like that is what makes all the difference in the world. And it's really important, I believe, for you to have an effective, I'm going to use the word prayer method, that could be just thought method, but it's like knowing that this is how your thought, and if you don't speak it out loud, sometimes speaking out loud makes it even more powerful because you have energy behind it. But it's like knowing that there is a force that listens, knowing that there is a force that begins already to move things around. And that's your belief. That's the belief. And what I find very often, people forget to put the two together. It's like, do you believe in a power? Yes, that's the belief. I believe in a power. But then how do you make that power work for you? How does it bring you peace of mind when you get into worry? If you're a little like me over the years, you've got, I have businesses to run and kids to look after and husbands as well. And it's like, where do you put all that? How do you, and I'm very good at fragmenting my life to a large degree. But over the years, I learned that because there's no use worrying about A when you're at B, or if you're C, you got to take care. I learned to take care of what I needed to take care of. So I began to learn about time, and I've talked about that before. Knowing your time, knowing how much you have, and knowing much where you're going. Also, sometimes we forget to look at what we actually believe. I know people who are great prayer people, but what do they believe? Where do they believe this is going? Where do they believe the thought is working? Your thoughts are powerful. And the more energy you put behind a thought, the more likely it is you are to succeed with it, because everything is energy. So when you have a thought and you're putting it out, and that's where the please, hope, I want, and you're kind of that victim state, we call it victim state, doesn't always work because it doesn't have a driving factor. So first of all, you need to have faith in what you do that works. Second, you must believe that the power there wants to support you, wants you to have what you want, wants you to be where you want to be. The world outside right now is a strange place. We get a lot of predictions of gloom and doom, I call it, the gloom and doom world. A lot of fire, it's keep saying all sorts of headlines, which I'm not going to repeat, but it's like very unsettled. What's really happening? Where is this going? What is this bringing forward? So there's a lot of unsettlement out there. So it's like, how do you feel on the inside? I feel as solid as I am, knowing that whatever comes up, whatever I need to deal with, I have the strength to deal with it. I have the clarity to deal with it. And if I don't have it, I ask for it. I ask for what I need: clarity, strength, awareness, people to support me if I need people to support me in lots of ways. So this is an interesting time period. You know what they say, may you be born in interesting time, an old Chinese proverb. Well, today is one of those interesting times. Now when you look at a lifespan, it's like, okay, I'm getting near that end part, which I've had to deal with and think about, and just being aware of all that. But at the same point, there's so much that I want to do. There's so many places I still want to go and see. And as those who watch the show regularly know, I've had probably good 18 months now of health issues that have gone on out of nowhere. They arrived. And it's like, I want to do these things. So it's like, now do we make priority lists? So I'm already looking at, okay, this is what I want to do, because my belief is what I want to create for me will be created. all I have to do is decide it's going to be. So I'm putting another word in here besides faith and belief. Deciding. What are you deciding for you? Last weekend, my son came up to visit, and we went out to a local pub. It's not just a pub, actually. It's a very nice hotel, and and we had nachos, and I don't drink. And what did we have? We had something to drink, but it was a non-alcoholic drink for both of us. And although he is known to have a beer. So it's like, and it was a very, very pleasant time as we looked around with other people. Now, I have been pretty locked in lots of ways in the last year and a half. And so all of a sudden, it was really nice to be around a lot of people who are having fun and enjoying, and a lot of people talking about this, that, or the other, which we could not hear. But we got to talk about a lot of different things too. Doing things like that, like going out, sharing food, talking, having a drink, whatever, is very important because we are a community peoples. We're not an isolated persons, even though some people like that and prefer that it is like we enjoy the environment around. And I know I'm busy in the background of my brain planning some short trips for myself to take because I'm still not sure about my endurance energy. Getting better, much better, but I still have to, make sure that I'm not overdoing it because I can get tired fast. So what am I really saying? You need to believe in a higher power. I think you need to believe in a higher power. You don't have to, but that's what I think. I find I've drawn lots of strength from that. And as I learned very early, many, many years ago, how to pray effectively, effective prayer, it's called, made a big difference in my world because I got clear about what I wanted so that you might say that power could bring that to me. Now, it didn't always look how I thought it should look, but it was brought and it was there for me then to do something with it, take it. You don't have, when some things are brought to you that you ask for, you don't always see it as exactly what you asked for, number one, but number two is that you've got to include it. Belief in yourself, belief in your power, that you are strong, that you have great mental ability, you have great emotional ability, and when you put the two together, they work really, really well. But what I find for a lot of people in today, because I'm privileged in being able to read for a lot of people, is they don't really believe. They don't really have that faith that no matter what, that they're looked after from an unknown source that loves them, that cares about them, and that they allow that in to warm them inside. I know outside isn't very nice, but inside is warm because I know that no matter what, I'm loved. I know that if I have clarity of thinking with some emotional behind it, also what I choose to do will be done. I had to get, on side of my own health. I was upset. I was sad, didn't like what's happening, all these things that seemed to take so long. And I fell into a habit, which a lot of people do, is that they forget that what they know. And then one day I woke up and I did mention it on one of the shows I did. It was like, oh, what am I doing? And I had to get behind myself in order to come back into an alignment in belief. To believe that this arm that didn't want to work, it's still not 100%, but man, it's a lot better. As soon as I shifted my attitude about it, it began to get better. And yes, I have exercises I have to do, but it's so much better. I can bring up my hands here. It's a little tight in the elbow still, but I can't reach my face yet. So still no earrings, the bugaboo of my life right now. But anyway, that's my joke, but it is true. I do like to have my earrings on. So and this hand can't get up there yet. Can't reach my chin. But we're getting closer. And so now I have a nice therapist who I see every a couple of weeks, I guess, and we go through and see how much closer it's gotten and things like that. But you got to shift your mind. I was like upset. I was not very happy. No one was happy with me, actually, because I was miserable. But once I made that shift of energy and realized, smarten up, I talk to myself like this, smarten up, Cowie, come on, get with the program here. Things began to shift and move and a lot easier. And I was more accepting that we had to have a little bit more time. Things began to move along, or everything opened up, where at that point, everything seemed closed. So just to recap, because I seem to have talked a lot longer than I do on a Sunday morning, is what do you really believe? Do you believe there is a power out there that works for you? Do you believe there's an energy that loves you beyond that loves you beyond measure is the word I wanted to say, or not? And then how do you work with that energy? Are you clear in your thinking? Do you know what you want? Because that, it's like, I know people who go into a restaurant. I have often used this in talks I've done, and they would sit down. Remember, I traveled for a lot of years, so I was always having breakfast and something. And the odd one would sit down and look at the waitress and say, "Bring me whatever," because she was involved in a conversation or whatever. And sure enough, whatever they brought, they ate willingly. It just always amazed me because I was pretty specific about what I wanted. So, but if you're not putting your order in to that grand design up there who's looking after you, you get whatever. And do that what you want, whatever. Sometimes you do, but mostly you want to be very specific. Right now, I'm planning trips. When I can go, because I've got some people coming to visit, when I can go, and not to overdo it, because I have a tendency to go away, do runs and visit this one and that one and the other. And I can't do that right now. And I realize that. So I'm planning differently. That happened in the last 3 days. Norma, why you're not getting this thing organized is you got too much on your plate. Little bites right now, little bites. So again, listening to what you're telling yourself or the energies coming through to tell you. So I just want to say, to wrap this up, I want to say good morning to Maggie G. And as she says, Norma, and oh, happy day. Yes, happy weekend for us, celebrating for Canadians for sure. Have a great day. I will be back on tomorrow night with mental mind treatments. If you haven't experienced mental mind treatments, they're live at 7:00. Please come in, see what happens. You'll be amazed, I think, and you'll find so much of it relates to you than you think, because we're all similar, And then again on Wednesday for my bigger talk. Blessings. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I trust the weather wherever you are is better than here. Blessings to all. Bye now.